Good morning, everyone. I'm Chris Geith. I'm a member of the UCP Future Ministers team, and let's keep those good vibrations going this morning. You know, this is our month where our theme is the power of understanding. It's one of those Unity 12 powers, so we're going to work with that today. We're also continuing the conversations that are inspired by the book Anatomy of Peace. You probably saw that on the slides this Friday on Zoom. The conversation continues. So I'm going to start actually with a story from that book to get us into this theme of choosing a heart at peace. So in the book, there's a story about a girl. She's a young girl, like a teenager. She has a drug problem and her parents need to take her to rehab. And, you know, they need to get her there somehow. And they basically tricked her into getting into the car. And as they approached where they were taking her, she recognized where she was. She was livid. She was so mad. As soon as the car stopped, even without her shoes on, she bolted out of the car. This is in Arizona in the summer when the streets get so hot they can fry an egg. And she's running at top speed away from this place out of the car. And these two young people about her age who had been clients there at the center and now worked there chased after her without any delay at all. They just ran right after her. And they caught up with her after about an hour. She kind of paused after an hour. Now she was a runner, all right? Well, it sounds like they were too in this story. And, you know, she's yelling the whole time. She's mad. She's livid that she was betrayed and lied to by her parents. The last thing she wanted to do was go there. She did not think she needed this intervention at all of her whole family being in on it against her. Anyway, she's railing and yelling. And she finally stops and they caught up with her. And the two people that were chasing her, running after her, running with her, actually, jogging along with her, keeping up with her, one of them took her shoes off and offered her shoes because she looked down. She goes, "Your feet are bleeding. Here, take my shoes. My feet are in good shape." And the girl was so still mad. She just sweared at them, yelled, and kept running. So she kept running, and both of the people now took their shoes off, right? She didn't put her shoes back on after offering and getting them refused. She kept them off. And the guy that was with her took his off too. And they ran barefoot in the hot streets of Phoenix, Arizona, jogging along with this girl who was just running and still being mad and fuming. And for 3 hours, it says in this story, for 3 hours, all 6 feet were bruised and cut and bloody and hot, running through the hot streets of Phoenix, Arizona. Anyway, it's a great story. I'm probably not doing it justice. But when they all arrived back at the center. And the girl said to her parents, "Well, maybe the people here aren't so bad after all. Maybe they're not as bad as I thought." And she went in and did what she needed to do in the treatment center. So now, what is it that created this shift in the girl? I have my phone here so I can see your chat responses. If you want to put it in the chat, what is it that made the shift? People ran after her. They offered her their shoes, right? So she could wear their shoes. Was it the running? Did she just run it out of her? You know, running for 3-4 hours would probably dissipate a lot of anger, right? What do you think brought apart about that shift in the girl's consciousness? And then let's think about the people running after her. What were they thinking? How did they justify that in their own mind? Like, what were they crazy running after her in the first place? And then taking off their shoes and running with her in the hot streets of Phoenix. I mean, what was going on in their head? What were they thinking? You know, how impulsive were they? Now, one of the things I really liked about this story is that it's the story of, like, feet play a central role in here, running and hot and bloody feet because running on the cement in the hot summer. Well, you know, in Unity metaphysics, the interpretation of feet, is our connection, our spiritual connection with matter. So that says a lot, doesn't it? The girl running through the streets, her feet bloody. She's just, her connection with life is beat up and painful and painful. And what did these people do? They took off their shoes and ran with her, not trying to tackle her. They were running with her. I just think that's so symbolic because, you know, our feet represent our whole body, right? In Chinese medicine, there are representative places on our feet for every part of our body. So I just think this is a very powerful story. And I hope that you'll join the discussion group so you can talk about it with your own interpretation. And, you know, that whole idea, if you want to know somebody, you walk in their shoes. Well, this story takes that to a whole nother level. You know, this story is also about listening to our divine impulse, like Victoria said when we started today, and in the meditation, you know,
getting her connection back up. Perhaps we lost connection for a moment, and she'll boot back up. But you know, she was getting to this idea in the story that the people who were running after her, you know, really were helping her to stay safe. And also when they took off their shoes, it's like they were saying, I'm in here with it. I am with you in this. They were both people who had gone through this program. It's actually an outdoor wilderness program that helps troubled teens. And while the teens are doing their wilderness adventure, the parents are having this wonderful weekend with the two leaders of this and learning about how they, you know, want to open to listen to their children, to communicate more effectively and more peacefully. So that idea of them saying, I'm with you in this adventure. I'm not against you. I'm not chasing you. I'm not forcing you. I am with you in this adventure. So Chris, are you back up and can continue with his story?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me? Who
Yes.
knows? Right? It's such a powerful story. It disconnected me from Zoom, right? So I'm on my phone now. Hopefully that'll be okay. So anyway, great inspiring story. Good food for thought. One of the things that this story is used to point out, and we'll use it right now, is how are people justifying that they actually went this far, right, to help this girl, right? They would put their own selves in pain. And how would somebody like me, let's say, justify not doing it? So this story is really an opportunity to say, how would I justify not going after her, right? Oh, somebody else's job, or you know, I'll just hop in my car and drive around and find her, you know, later. There's a million reasons why we wouldn't do it, right? And the book Anatomy of Peace calls these our justification boxes, and they point out several of them. It doesn't really matter what they're about, but it just points out that whenever we may have, we might not even be aware of an impulse to do something really well. To do something really well, we might actually, hold on a second here. We might actually ignore that impulse. And I'll turn my phone this way. I'll get there. Thank you, Nico. We might, without even realizing it, just ignore it. So let me give you an example. I was in the store. This has probably happened to you in the grocery store. Somebody walking in the same aisle that I'm in accidentally knocks over a glass jar of jam, and it makes a big mess all over the floor. All right, what's the first thing I did? Oh boy. Well, I'm busy. I don't have time to help clean up. You know, seems like a rational choice, right? Oh, I'm busy. I'm going to turn around and go the other way, and it'll be somebody else's job to clean that up. How many of you had that happen to you? Have you done the same thing? Or maybe you followed that impulse to do good and you helped the person out and you helped clean it up, or at least get the glass out, as opposed to going the other way. Well, going the other way, you know, I'm feeling rushed. I'm feeling, you know, justified in my choice. I'm actually feeling, in the book, this is described as the better than box, right? I didn't even realize it. I fell into the trap of the better than box, feeling I don't have time for that. The world has something better for me to do than clean up a jar of jelly. Oh my God. Once I recognized that behavior, I could calm. I was like, I want to have a do-over on that, right? I want to have a do-over on that. But there are ways that we can recognize that behavior afterwards, or preferably during. Notice that we're triggered and we've fallen into a justification box, which is just our mind's way of giving an excuse and justifying why we didn't take the higher path or follow that original impulse for doing good in the world, right? This often happens, and that's a simple example. This could also happen when you're in an argument with somebody, or you're at a family dinner and there's that one person that kind of brings out the worst in you. You're falling into a justification box. But what I want to do today was actually help you get out of that justification box, help you recognize it and switch gears. And that's what this second half or third half of the book, third section of the book is about. So let me share an exercise with you. I'm going to actually have a guided meditation that uses a beautiful poem that I heard this week from Padre Gotuma, who's the resident poet of the On Being Project. And I invite you to just sit back and relax while I do this guided meditation that I think is a demonstration of how we can intercept this trap of our minds and these justification boxes and stay in the impulse of our divine self and act that way even more often. So we're going to go back into meditation. So just sit back and relax a little bit. And just listen to my voice. You can close your eyes or just sit and relax. I would like you to picture or imagine or feel someone who triggers your worst behavior, or someone you just don't want to have to deal with. Or if it's not a person, maybe it's an interaction where you were in conflict. See if you can conjure something up. Use all your senses to make it real. Feel it with your emotions, feel the situation, feel what you felt like. See the person or the situation. What was the temperature? What were the fragrances? What's it sound like? And when you have a clear sense of that person or a situation, I invite you to imagine them shrinking down into your cupped hands. Open your palms, put your hands together, and just hold that person or situation in your cupped hands gently. And let's just rest them there. Just let them rest. And take a deep breath. And while you're holding your cupped hands, bring your attention to your heart. And just breathe gently here while your attention is on your heart. Let's connect to our heart even more deeply with Padraig's poem that I'll read to you. Let's remember that you were born and you will die. That you will sometimes love enough and sometimes not. That you will lie, if only to yourself. That you will get tired. That you will learn most from the situations you did not choose. That there will be some things that move you more than you can say. That you will live. That you must be loved. That you will avoid questions most urgently in need of your attention. That you began as the fusion of a sperm and an egg, of two people who once were strangers and may still be. That life isn't fair, that life is sometimes good and sometimes better than good. That life is often not so good. that life is real. And if you can survive it well, survive it well with love and art and meaning given where meaning's scarce, that you will learn to live with regret, that you will learn to live with respect, that the structures that constrict you may not be permanently constricting, that you will probably be okay, that you must accept change before you die, but you will die anyway. So you might as well live. You might as well love. You might as well love. You might as well love. Just breathe here for a moment. Gently recall the person or situation in your cupped hands. And now I invite you to activate your power of understanding in your frontal cortex, right behind your forehead. And ponder these couple of questions. What are this person's or this situation's challenges, trials, burdens, and pains? What's my role in adding to these challenges, trials, burdens, and pains? How might my own justifications be obscuring the truth here? And finally, what am I feeling I should do for this person or group or situation? What might I do to help? Notice if you feel an impulse for good in this situation, a divine whisper perhaps. See if you can put it into words for yourself. Remember it. And now come back with your next inhale and open your eyes and look around. And if you were able to hear a whisper, put something into words, I invite you to write it down. Before your justification box, that trap of your own mind can take over, so that maybe you can act differently next time, so that you can choose a heart at peace. So what did we just do here in this exercise? We recognized a person or a situation. We got ourselves out of our justification box, in this case meditation, but it could be taking a walk, listening to music, reading a passage, and then pondering the situation with our power of understanding. Those are the 3 steps for increasing our inner clarity and peace. Now, to bring ourselves back, take a look at your feet. Look down, wiggle those toes, appreciate the feeling of your feet on the ground. Recall the story of the girl running barefoot. And let's understand that we can each choose to have a heart at peace in more moments. Thank you for listening this morning. And so it is.